The movie, set in the early 1950s, unfolds the story of Catherine, a woman in her early 30s, grappling with the contrasting ideals of personal desires and societal expectations. The movie delves into the lives of women entangled in a traditional lifestyle, a legacy passed down through generations. Catherine, a bright and forward-thinking individual, finds herself questioning the predetermined paths laid out for women in society. She ponders over the concept of happiness and how it might be achieved by following one's inner voice and passions. After graduating from university, Catherine pursues her passion for art and becomes an art teacher, a career that aligns with her love for creativity and expression. Her journey leads her to a prestigious opportunity at Wellesley College in Oakland State. Excited and eager, Catherine embraces this chance to impart her knowledge and enthusiasm for art in a renowned academic setting, seeing it as a step towards realizing her dream career. Upon her arrival at Wellesley, Catherine encounters a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Standing at the threshold of her new classroom, she takes a moment to gather her courage, inhaling deeply. Encouraged by a co-worker, she steps into the classroom with newfound confidence, ready to embark on her teaching journey. Catherine's first class, however, presents an unexpected challenge. She discovers that her students, highly intelligent and academically advanced, have already memorized the entire textbook and syllabus. Recognizing their eagerness and intellectual capabilities, Catherine feels a strong sense of responsibility to push them beyond mere grind learning. She aims to cultivate their creativity and critical thinking, to encourage them to view the world from different perspectives. Determined to break the mold of conventional teaching, Catherine introduces her students to modern art, a stark contrast to their traditional education. She carefully selects a variety of contemporary artworks, each chosen to challenge and inspire. This approach, however, initially meets resistance. The students, rooted in their traditional expectations, find themselves perplexed and even annoyed by this unconventional method. Undeterred, Catherine encourages her students to engage with the artworks on a deeper level. She prompts them to observe, reflect, and interpret, steering them away from snap judgments based on preconceived notions. Through interactive discussions, Catherine fosters an environment where the concept of good art is subjective and open to interpretation. She emphasizes that art, much like life, does not adhere to a strict right or wrong, but is a reflection of individual perspectives and experiences. As the story progresses, Catherine's unique teaching style enables her to connect with her students on a more personal level. She begins to understand their aspirations, fears, and the societal pressures they face. In doing so, Catherine not only imparts artistic knowledge, but also instills a sense of empowerment and self-discovery in her students. Catherine then becomes increasingly motivated to inspire her students to look beyond the traditional societal expectations placed on women. Recognizing the limitations and constraints these norms impose, she passionately encourages her students to envision a life that extends beyond just marriage and conformity. Among Catherine's students are Betty, Giselle, Connie, and Joan, who all share a dormitory at the college. These young women, each with distinct personalities, navigate their college life under Catherine's guidance. Betty, known for her strong opinions and traditional views, vocally opposes Catherine's progressive ideas, championing the conventional path of marriage. In a controversial incident, Betty writes an article accusing a school nurse, Amanda, of distributing contraceptives. This accusation leads to Amanda's abrupt dismissal, causing turmoil among the students, including Catherine, who is visibly upset by this unfair treatment. Meanwhile, Catherine faces her own challenges with the school's administration. The school director issues her a stern warning regarding her teaching methods, insisting that she must submit her lesson plans for approval before lecturing. This bureaucratic hurdle frustrates Catherine. Connie, another of Catherine's students and a friend of Betty's, often endures negative remarks from Betty. Despite this, Connie remains resilient, refusing to let her friend's harsh words diminish her self-esteem. Giselle, the most rebellious of the group, struggles with personal issues stemming from her parents' divorce, leading her to occasionally act out. Joan stands out from her peers due to her open-mindedness and willingness to embrace new ideas. Catherine sees great potential in her and holds her in high regard. A teacher at the school named Bill starts to develop an interest in Catherine. However, Catherine, aware of his intentions, keeps her distance. She is committed to maintaining her long-distance relationship with her boyfriend back in her hometown. Soon after, a pivotal scene unfolds when Joan, one of Catherine's students, visits her office to discuss a grade that has left her dissatisfied. Upon entering, Joan is taken aback by the transformation of Catherine's office into a space resembling an art gallery filled with inspiring editorials. This display of Catherine's commitment to art and education momentarily distracts Joan, but she quickly gets to the point, questioning why she received a C grade despite seemingly doing everything correctly. Catherine explains to Joan that her work, while technically proficient, lacked originality, being more of a replication of an artist's ideas rather than a reflection of her own thoughts. Initially defensive, Joan argues that it's standard practice to draw upon the expertise of established artists when critiquing art. However, Catherine gently challenges this notion, emphasizing the importance of personal critical thinking and reasoning. She encourages Joan to break free from preconceived notions and to trust her own perspectives and desires. She offers Joan a second chance with another assignment, leaving Joan inspired and motivated. Meanwhile, the narrative shifts to Betty, another student. Betty enters into a committed relationship with Spencer and is the first among her friends to get married. However, the strain in her marital life begins to surface even at her wedding, where she has a low-voiced argument with her husband-to-be, masking their tension with a facade of affection in front of their guests. At the same event, Connie encounters Betty's cousin, Charlie, sparking a mutual interest that quickly blossoms. The film then transitions to New Year's week, a time when both students and school staff are on break. Catherine is pleasantly surprised when her boyfriend visits her dormitory, traveling a long distance to see her. Their reunion is warm and affectionate, as Catherine has been missing his company. They spend quality time together, and in a moment filled with emotion and vulnerability, Catherine's boyfriend proposes marriage, presenting a ring. Caught off guard, Catherine is overwhelmed with mixed emotions. Her feelings for her boyfriend have shifted during their time apart, and she finds herself unable to respond immediately. At this very moment, Bill arrives outside. Giselle, feeling gloomy, has called Bill for support. They both witness the proposal scene between Catherine and her boyfriend. Giselle then approaches Catherine and her boyfriend, offering congratulations, while Bill stands by, visibly uncomfortable with the unfolding scenario. That night, Catherine faces a moment of emotional honesty with her boyfriend. In a heartfelt conversation, she admits her uncertainty about her feelings for him. Sensing the change in Catherine's heart, her boyfriend leaves her dormitory, a sad expression on his face. Catherine and Bill begin to spend more time together, and eventually, their relationship blossoms into something more. Catherine discovers that Bill is quite different from the rumors and perceptions prevalent among the school's staff and students. After spending a night together, Catherine initially tells Bill that she isn't looking for a serious relationship. However, she soon reevaluates her feelings and decides to commit to him on the condition that he ends his relationships with other students. Meanwhile, Betty's marriage becomes increasingly strained. Her husband frequently stays out late, citing business commitments as his reason. This tension leads Betty to return to school after a prolonged absence. Upon her return, she clashes with Catherine in class. Catherine insists on a formal explanation for Betty's absence, leading to a heated exchange that disrupts the class. Catherine firmly states that her classroom rules must be adhered to, regardless of school policies. During this time, Joan receives exciting news. Her application to Yale Law School has been accepted. She shares this with Betty, who reacts with suspicion and disapproval, questioning the influence behind Joan's decision. Joan reveals that it was Catherine who submitted her application. Giselle, after the break, mistakenly tells her friends that Catherine is getting married, having witnessed the proposal. This leads to the students organizing a celebratory party, inviting Catherine. However, at the party, it becomes clear from Catherine's own words that her relationship has ended, adding to the already strained atmosphere between Catherine and Betty. The relationship between Catherine and Bill continues to grow, but it soon encounters a significant obstacle. Catherine unexpectedly learns about Bill's past during a visit to his house, where she meets his long-term friend. She discovers that Bill spent the war at the Army Languages Center on Long Island, contrary to his claims of being in Europe. Feeling deceived, Catherine confronts Bill, leading to a tense exchange. Bill accuses Catherine of imposing her own perspectives at Wellesley, rather than genuinely helping the students find their paths. Catherine departs, reflecting on her decision to let Bill into her life. The next day, Betty takes a bold step, by writing an editorial in the College magazine. In her piece, she criticizes Catherine, accusing her of imposing foreign ideals on the students and pressuring them to avoid marriage. This editorial paints a negative picture of Catherine, stirring controversy on campus. Despite this, Catherine proceeds to her classroom to deliver what turns out to be her last lesson at the college. In this emotionally charged session, she reaches out to her students in a way that profoundly affects them, including Betty, whose heart is touched by Catherine's words. Betty's personal life, meanwhile, takes a turn for the worse. Her marriage crumbles as Spencer continues to neglect her. Distraught, Betty seeks comfort from her mother, only to be met with a cold directive to return to her husband. Feeling isolated and hurt, Betty lashes out at Giselle back at the dorm, but eventually breaks down and cries, finding solace in Giselle's comforting embrace. This emotional breakdown leads Betty to regret how she has mistreated Catherine, recognizing the positive influence Catherine has had on her. However, by this time, Catherine has already made up her mind to leave Wellesley after the graduation ceremony. Amidst these developments, Connie reconciles with Charlie, overcoming their previous misunderstandings. Joan, one of Catherine's most promising students, makes a significant life decision. She chooses to pursue her education at Yale and also gets married, assuring Catherine that her choices are her own. Despite the popularity of her course, Catherine faces a dilemma when the college invites her to return with rigid conditions. She would need to strictly adhere to the syllabus, submit lesson plans for approval, refrain from offering personal advice to students, and maintain a professional distance from all faculty and students. Catherine, staying true to her principles, declines the offer and decides to return to California after the graduation ceremony. Betty's journey takes another twist when her mother tries to persuade her to come back home. But Betty, inspired by Catherine's teachings and the mysterious smile of Monalisa, stands firm in her resolve to carve her own path. She sees Monalisa Smile not as a symbol of happiness, but as a complex expression that reflects her own feelings of defiance and determination. In the film's closing scene, Betty shows a sign of her newfound independence and growth. She dedicates her final editorial to Catherine, painting her as an extraordinary woman who inspired her students to see the world differently. The movie concludes with an emotional farewell. Catherine departs in a taxi, and her students, including Betty, follow on their bicycles, symbolizing their journey of growth and transformation. As the taxi speeds away, Betty reaches out, a gesture that signifies her gratitude and respect for the woman who changed her life. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.